put that in such strong language, I think is a major way forward. So we're very pleased about that. Now, obviously, a lot of things are happening in Scotland, and we're putting a great deal of pressure on all the corrupt politicians who have served to cover up this story. In particular, of course, there's Elise Angelini, who's been forced to resign because of all the lies she told about her involvement in blocking the Holly Gregg case when she was Procurator Fiscal in Aberdeen in 2000 and 2001. We've caught her out thanks to some help from two members of the Scottish National Party currently, strangely enough, Brian Adam and Richard Lockhead, who's also one of the ministers in Scotland. So we're pressing those two gentlemen to actually put pressure on Mr. Salmon to come clean about all this and to ask for a public inquiry into everything to do with the Holly Gregg case, including what we believe to be the murder of Holly's uncle, Robert Gregg, who was a key witness who witnessed Holly's father abusing her, and we believe he was murdered in 1997. There's been more strength that's been put forward on this particular issue by the Malcolm Webster case, which some of you may be aware of in Scotland, where the person who found that Mrs. Webster, the first Mrs. Webster, was apparently accidentally died in a burning car, just the same as Robert Gregg. The same pathologist has been involved, and two members of Holly's family who were named abusers and have also been named as abusing their own children. So all of those things need to come out. There needs to be a public inquiry in Scotland, an open, independent inquiry, and let us get to the truth of this. We don't want anybody condemned, without a fair trial or a fair hearing, but we've certainly got enough, certainly to show corruption and cover-up by senior Scottish politicians and police officers as well. So let us hope that that comes about soon, but we are getting plenty of support there. I won't go on too long because obviously other people need to have a chance today, and you're nodding at me, Belinda, thank you. But just to say that you'll see down the poster there, Shropshire, about Shropshire's shame. Shropshire come into this because obviously in the gang social workers were named. Scotland, the Shropshire people who should have nothing whatsoever to do with this other than the fact that Anne and Holly lived there after escaping from Scotland. Sorry. Oh, yes, and the 3rd of June last year, as Belinda's reminded me, the Shropshire Social Services got the police to actually come and raid the home of Anne and Holly in their village on the ridiculous pretext that they were missing persons. Now, I can tell you that was complete nonsense because I got a call an hour and a half before the raid at home from DC Ed Bates of West Mercia Police, saying that social services were worried about the whereabouts of Anne and Holly, and could I help? Well, of course, Anne and Holly don't account for me every minute of the day where they're going to be. I'd seen them a few days earlier and understood them to be taking a very short holiday, which was the case. I thought that was quite enough, but just an hour and a half later, the police officers concerned, as well as two council workers, broke into the home of Anne and Holly, as I say, virtually 1 year ago, 3rd of June, and not only spent 3.5 hours allegedly looking through a small house to find people who were supposedly missing, but ransacked the house, devastated it in the most appalling way. Obviously a clear attempt to intimidate these two ladies to try and protect their social worker criminal friends up in Aberdeen. Now, there is a court case involving this, and we're going to have another hearing. It's not a major function, it's just a procedural one that's going up on the 14th of June at the Royal Courts of Justice. If anybody wants to come along, they can do. We're most welcome. It won't be very long, I don't think, but we're just taking the council on that. There are some very bad people in the council who have behaved in an abominable way towards Anne and Holly, the victims of such terrible, terrible atrocities. I'm going to name one or two of those people. The head of the child services is a woman called Councillor Aggie Caesar Homden. The person who was in charge, the chief executive of Shropshire Council, is a man called Kim Riley. The head of the legal services is Tim Collard, and finally the social services officer who's been responsible for this persecution of these two vulnerable ladies is a man called Stephen Collard. And Stephen Chandler, I'm sorry, Tim Collard and Stephen Chandler. Stephen Chandler, by the way, won't surprise you, social services, high flyer, just over 2 years ago was found to be, was working in Worcestershire when his department were responsible for the awful deaths deaths of a woman and her son in Redditch. Of course, Chandler was brought forward to explain himself, tried to blame other people for it, but the next thing we know, he's there in a similarly high-paid job in neighbouring County Shropshire. That's the way it happens with social workers, isn't it? Senior social workers, anyway. Anyway, very much today, I'm going to pass on to the next speaker. Thank you very much indeed. But we've really got to fight for the rights, the destructing efforts of the family court and those who are appropriate. There are obviously corrupt, a lot of social workers are very good, but there are plenty of corrupt ones. There are plenty of corrupt psychologists who give false information. And I'm sorry to say there are false and corrupt judges who also need to be brought to book over this. Let's see an end to the family courts. Let's see the end to secrecy. Let's have open family courts with the press and the public there. This is a blot on our own judicial system. It doesn't happen in many countries, but there's a powerful vested interest for financial reasons and also for reasons of paedophilia who want to keep this going. Let's bring it to an end right now. Thank you very much, all of you.